What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So don't forget, we still have our Fabled box giveaway at 6,000 subscribers, so let's hit that button, let's hit that goal, let's do that. But without further ado, we have everything Fabled to talk about today, and that means reprints, best cards, cards rotating out that you already see on your screen. We got an updated prediction, tier list, winners, losers. What do you need to know? I'm also working on a in-depth deck building kind of guide to how to navigate rotation, new format, so many changes, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure you hit that little bell if you would like to. So starting out, again, 20 best cards rotating out. And you might say, well, where is Sad Beast? That card is better than some of these cards. And it actually made it really far into the cutting down process. And it ultimately came down to which cards were being played the most last set. So these maybe aren't the 20 best overall individual cards, but these are 20 cards that are coming out of the meta that all had a pretty significant impact in the meta. We see Cinderella, Morph, Smee, Ariel. So Steel Song really taking a beating here, losing Cindy, Ariel, Storm, Zeus, whole new world. It's a whole new deck at this point. Also losing Smee even as well. Literally losing. And Rapunzel. They lost like half their deck. Obviously you got things like Morph in here. Shift X taking a big hit there, losing Morph. Smee, everyone knew that was coming. Nathaniel Flint is a much worse version of Smee. But once we saw that, we're like, okay, Smee is not coming back. There's no way for it. But there is a pseudo replacement that's actually not half bad. It is in my top 10 new cards list. So make sure click the link down or the little timestamps down below if you want to jump around. Blurple. Blurple took some hits, right? They lost Fox. They lost Crab. They lost Popsicle. They lost Friends. They really didn't lose that much. Fox was honestly on the chopping block already. I inked it all the time. I'm like, do I want to keep playing it? I kept it in for the bouncing of Hades, and people are like, well, what about the aggro matchup? You just lose. No, you do not. And if you really feel that way, I suggest playing Blurple a lot more because the aggro matchups actually are in your favor pretty decently. Sometimes they just hit it and they're gone, but that's against any deck. So losing Crab hurt, I'm not going to lie. Losing Friends sucks, I'm not going to lie. But even there, a lot of the time Friends ended up being ink because developing your characters, and so many of our characters draw cards already anyway. It wasn't insanely bad. Losing Popsicle kind of hurts, but again, pretty replaceable there. Discard decks, sorry, but no more Prince John means a lot of your consistency's gone, especially those green steel decks with Diablo as well. So losing out on those. Green steel also losing out on the double singing Ursula. Pretty impactful hits there. There is still a viable discard deck though, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And it's not so much discard, it just has some discard involved into it. And I'm not talking just the 2-drop Ursula who got reprinted. She's just a great counter to songs, and songs are still going to be pretty good in the current game. Goat's gone, Rapunzel's gone, Maui's gone. I think we all knew Maui maybe was going to come back. That was one where there's arguments to go both ways. Sisu, everyone knew Sisu wasn't coming back. Again, Friends wasn't coming back. Storm wasn't coming back. How far I'll go? This was an interesting one that I was like, I understand it not coming back. This card is absolutely broken. It's consistency. It adds to your hand. It goes to your inkwell. It's really, really good. I think the Kita, the 4-drop, replaces it pretty well. It's not the same, but it is a pretty solid replacement that we're going to see popping up in the meta a whole bunch. Zeus being on that one honestly kind of surprised me to not get Zeus to come back. There's just a lot of threats that Zeus really helped with. That one kind of surprised me. As a Blurple player, I am insanely happy that Zeus is gone. Being said, I don't know if it's the best thing for the game to not have Zeus there. Whole New World, we got the Horizon, so we knew Whole New World wasn't coming back. Be Prep. This one, everyone's going to be like, no, there's no way, no way, no way. But as far as just board wipes go, I almost wish B-Prep did get reprinted, especially with ways to hit it still, like that Ursula, or you just have to just not overcommit your hand into your board. Red blue decks are going to be changing quite a bit because, well, they lost Sisu and Prep, and it's like, well, they still have a lot of other consistency tools. They have their actions, they have Half Sharks, they have Hades, they have all these other cards. But what those decks would do is they fall way behind early, ramp up hard, get into this late game, slap a Sisu down, slap a Prep down, clear the board, and then they just play threat. You can't get back into the game. They don't have that just big board wipe the same way anymore. So I think we're going to see red-blue decks speeding up a little bit. So they're going to be more of like a turn 5 to 7 where they peak, whereas opposed to turn like 8 where they're really just taking over the game. I think we're going to see them decks just speed up a little bit, and that's how they're going to survive. And again, Popsicle just being a pretty good card there. So what are my 10 best reprinted cards of the set? Well, my best reprinted cards, these are not in order, by the way. Ursula. Songs are still good. Ursula's still good. It's crazy. Belle. Belle is, as Blurple player, I'm so happy with the reprints. We got Hades, Elsa, Belle. I mean, I'm just saying, guys, Blurple's pretty good. Moving 3 damage, though, with Lawrence getting reprinted, moving 3 damage onto a Rhino is very strong. Just in aggro in general, being able to come down on like turn 4 after you challenge into stuff, play this, move it to a readied character, get rid of the readied threat as well. Moving damage to a Tiana to help remove her more effectively. We're going to see her popping up a lot in this current meta too. Big Tink, I think, is an incredibly strong card. We're going to see some mid-range steel decks popping up quite a bit, and Tinkerbell, I think, is going to be a big part of some of those. Hades is insane. This card, once this card got reprinted, I said I'm staying with Blurple, and then I saw about Elsa and Belle. I'm like, oh my goodness, the rich get richer. This is crazy. Getting Hades was enough to keep me on the deck. Getting them was just, yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Elsa, especially when the format's faster, Elsa is very, very strong, pairing up with the Blurple Anna also very nicely. We're kind of lacking some removal, so Maleficent by default is pretty good still, especially in those red-blue decks. Red-blue was going to hurt from they losing Tala. They lose How Far. They were going to lose Develop, lose Popsicle. That's a lot of consistency cards gone, so at least they got Develop back. Again, board wipes, removal, things like that are few and far in between, it feels like, for this current format. Strength of the Raging Fire comes back. Again, I still think Zeus should have. Under the Sea, at least there's no Kita, right? So at least there's no Kita to pair up with the Under the Sea, so it is a way to answer these aggressive decks since they have the lower strengths. But they're still Lost in the Woods. It's not a Kita, but Lost in the Woods is still a card to keep an eye out for. And Pirate's Life is, this card makes Half Shark so much better. It gives Ruby decks just another fantastic tool because they can fall behind a little bit, catch up from it, and just be able to help close out their games that way. And as a little side note, I do want to throw like Bee King Undisputed there with Pirate's Life, just a couple Ruby actions to really help compete with the current meta and the format. So again, these are not in order. Best new cards, 10 best cards, and actually I did put these ones in order, so I'm going to go backwards. Number 10, Smee is back, sort of. Roxanne is a 2-cost inkable 2/3, and if you have a Singer on board, she gets +1 lore, +1 strength. So she becomes a 3/3 2-quester that costs 2 to play and is inkable. Remind you of anybody who takes damage in the end? So when you're playing her, though, you're probably playing Power Lines, both of them, and you're playing the Max Goof. So you're probably playing 12 Singers already. So she offers a nice little aggressive start, pivot line, play line. I think she's a very good card to keep an eye on. She's not going to fit into all the Ruby decks, but I think that she will have her place and see some meta play to a degree. Dumbo. I had this card higher initially, but I've been at least hand testing a whole bunch and just kind of playline testing on Ink Table with Blurple, and I can't wait for Lorcanito in actual testing, but like even running through with proxies against other decks. Dumbo, it's a good card. I don't know. Maybe it's not quite the right format for Dumbo. Very good card, very good effect. Coming down. We'll see how impactful it is right away in this meta, but I think it might be more of a future meta card. Standout, evasive. It's going to be a very evasive, potentially evasive battle in this format. So getting the 3 strength and evasive is very, very powerful. Being able to double use it because of your max goof as well is going to be very good there. Lilo, giving Challenger 2 to everything. A nice little boost for like Mushu decks, pairing with your Alien Stitch, even your Gantu. There's some nice little uses there for Lilo. I think that she'll find her place in a couple meta decks. Especially, like I said, just giving everything Challenger 2 is a pretty crazy ability. Eye to Eye. Not many 9-cost songs that are very playable, but Eye to Eye being one of them. Genie. This card, actually, maybe I'd move this one up to flip-flop. Like, move this one up to 3, bump Circle of Life and Ursula each back. Your other character is getting 2 strength while this card's exerted. It's a 2/3 2-quester. And again, in an evasive battle, this is you have to get rid of this card first. Otherwise, you're going to be getting horrible trade value into other characters. I think Genie is really, really strong. So I think that you got to just keep an eye out for it. Ursula. I like this card a lot. People are like, well, why would you play her if you're only playing 3 or 4 songs? You're not playing many songs. She's not that good. That's completely wrong. You play her because the exert ability. If you have the song to pair with her, great. That's a bonus. She is very strong for the exerting ability. It's like Elsa, but not quite as good. So personally, I'm playing 3 of her, 4 Elsas, because Elsa's the better of the 2. But she can come through clutch late game. You fall behind to aggro, and you get the board state. Because a deck like Blurple or like Red Blue last format, it's not uncommon once they stall you at like 15 for them to be able to quest for like 20 lore in 2 to 3 turns. 2 to 3 turns, they can go from 0 to 20 just like that. So having a character that can exert your card, because you're just trying to pluck away and finish, get to that finish line. I'm going to play some cards. They're readied. I'm not going to quest. I'm not going to give my opponent anything. I'm going to put 5 lore on board, ready to go. And all of a sudden you slap down like an Ursula and Elsa because you get to 10 ink easily, and you start exerting their characters, and now they can't do anything about it, and you're still going wider and going to win in 2 or 3 turns. Playing a card for free from your discard. Ooh, Circle of Life is gonna go hard. Unfortunately, Amber does not look that strong this set. Sort of. A couple Amber decks are gonna be pretty good, and I really like this in a Tramp-focused, like Amber Emerald style deck. I think it's gonna shine in those builds. And then we get to the best 2 cards. Powerline. It's like Aerial, but possibly better. Better stat line. Better questing ability, and when he sings a song, look at the top 4. So it's not on play, it's on singing, but you also get to play it for free right away. That's pretty broken if you ask me. Max Goof then. It's almost like Ariel Naveen kind of mixed into one. Max Goof being able to, once again, playing cards for free. So if we look at Max Goof, Powerline, Circle of Life, they're all cards that play cards for free. Playing cards for free is free. That's why these cards are some of the best cards in this entire set. Being a 4/5 2-quester, also very, very strong. I think that Emerald and Ruby really getting the bulk of the best new cards, as we can see here. 1 Steel, 1 Amber, a couple Amethyst. And honestly, Sapphire, that Alice card's pretty cool. Cruella maybe finds a place, but overall, Sapphire didn't really get a whole lot of good new cards. Reprints, though. Sapphire did pretty well on the reprints. Again, let's look back on it. I mean, I know I only got 2 in my top here, but once again, no Amber anywhere to be seen. Everyone else pretty well. I think there's 2 of each. 2 of each of the other 5 and 0 Ambers in my reprints. Winners and losers, and then we'll get into a brief tier list. I already have all the decks, and I'm just going to talk about why I have them in the categories I do. I'm not going to go one by one, talk about it that way. So, winners and losers. I didn't know a good visual for doing this one. Winners, Blurple. I think Blurple is in an insanely good position. What they lost versus what they kept is not even close to the majority of the other top decks of the format. Zeus is gone. Sisu's gone. Muses is gone. So many of the cards that caused this deck problems are gone. I think that Blurple is going to be pretty rampant and be very good. Get those mirrors in. Get your mirror tech. How are you going to counter the mirror? Aggressive decks? you better be quick, because if you can't close this out in 5 turns, Blurple's probably going to catch up and end up coming back on you. And what's the rest of the format do? Are we going to have like Blurple, hyper aggro counter, and get that little triangle effect in the meta that way? Aggro. We don't have a whole lot for removal and board wipes. I think aggro is a huge winner of this format. Emerald and Ruby as colors, I think, between reprints and new cards, both of those colors are big winners of the Fabled set. And lastly, the big winner of Fabled is Phil. So he's a Amber Emerald player, and I know he's already got a list that he's cooking up, so when he does well with it, we'll probably have to showcase it for you guys, but stay tuned. Losers. Biggest losers of the set. Steel Song. Steel Song is destroyed so badly that it's actually going to be a decent tier 2 deck. And the thing is, it's Ruby Steel Song. Amber Steel Song, I don't think the deck's playable whatsoever. I really, really don't. Red Blue. I think Red Blue took huge hits. Big losers of the format. But once again, tier 2 potential. They just have to completely shift and kind of rework how the deck is going to play. Similar, Ruby Amethyst, I think, again, tier 2 potential, but the deck's going to probably stick with the evasive thing going, but it's going to go through some changes once again. It's going to take a little bit, I think, for Ruby Amethyst to truly pop up and do what it wants to do. Card draw. There's still card draw. Almost every color has good card draw. Decks, you got to be creative with it. Are you playing the Amber Emerald? You got Tramp. Are you playing a steel deck? You got Dock and Horizon. Are you playing Amethyst? Well, you already know Amethyst has it all. Are you playing Blurple? You don't have draw, but you have visions. You have develop. You have, I guess, sale draws, but you do have so many other cards like that. In that regard, Emerald, you still have not a lot of crazy draw. You got Hypnotic Deduction, you got a few others, you got some songs that'll draw you a card, do another little ability. But overall, as a whole, card draw has gotten more compacted, and we're going to see some cards that didn't see play before see play now, because card draw is just too important not to explore these different avenues. And it's going to be neat to see what people come up with to really supplement their consistency. My option, I'm going to play Blurple. Best card draw in the game. I honestly don't even think it's close. And lastly, the biggest loser is Amber. Amber lost really its only good cards. Chernabog, gone. Ariel, gone. Rapunzel, gone. Cinderella, gone. What do they have left? Daisy. They have Lilo. They lost Piglet. They have Lady. Like, Amber's got some hyper aggro cards. I'll give them that. They got some very, very good aggressive cards. Even Sven is a very good card. Goofy's a good card. The new Minnie Mouse is a good card. Very, very good aggro cards. Outside of that, though, I think Amber is in some little bit of trouble. So I apologize for the quality of this. I should have did it better. But anyway, tier 1 contenders. These are where they are. This is just kind of a rough what decks I expect to be tier 1. I would say 3 to 4 of these decks are going to stick in tier 1. The others are going to go down to the next best. And the next best, probably a couple of them bump down to Rogue. And Rogue will see some other things popping up as well. Blurple, I've been not shy about this at all. I think Blurple is absolutely in a prime position to be not just tier 1, but to be the best deck of the format. Amber Steel. It lost its kind of mid-game. It lost Rapunzel. It loses a lot of the card draw, but we're seeing them play like Tiana and stuff and really speed up and push for that turn 5, turn 6 win. If they can get there, and I think this one can more than most, they might be okay, but they lose Cindy, they lose Storm, they lose Piglet. They lost some other cards. It's not just Rapunzel that this deck lost in that card draw. Amethyst Emerald, I think, again, lost a couple little tools, but they still kept the majority of this deck intact. It's got the Amethyst draw engine, and it's got just some of the generic interaction from Emerald. You got potentially Clarabelle, but you got the lever cards as well. I think that Amethyst Emerald is in a pretty good spot. Amethyst Steel, again, you notice something here is 3 amethyst color combinations here simply because the card draw, like the consistency of amethyst is something that's going to push those decks. Just right off the top, it's going to give you a natural advantage. And then just the combativeness of steel. You have strength still, you have fire the cannons, you have Calhoun, you got things like Giant Cobra to help close out a game, so you don't have Goat, but you got Cobra. You have different options there. Another deck that I think to really keep an eye out on is blue-green control. You know, Clarabelle is one of the best cards in this format. Hades, one of the best cards in the game right now. Both of these cards don't sleep on. Like, this whole deck in general, ramping, it's got tools, it still has Bend to My Will, it still has You're Welcome, it still has very effective tools. They got Mother's Knows Best back as well, so keep an eye out for blue-green decks, and this might be one of the best counters for Blurple, and just because of that, it's going to be a tier 1 contender. And then Ward aggro. So Amber Sapphire, I said Amber's got some aggro tools. I'm not going to lie. They got Daisy, they got Tiana, they got Lady, and this color in particular has Ludwig, which is a very, very strong card as well. But your Alice being able to give like ward to a Tiana too, so you can stop things like Into the Unknown, stop a Hades, stop other cards like that. It's pretty good. And keep in mind too, if you get her down with a bodyguard and your opponent plays a Monstro, it's each time it challenges. So Monstro crash into the bodyguard, they lose the 3 unless they pay 3 ink, but let's say they have 8 ink. They play Monstro, they rush into the bodyguard, they lost 3. If they use the ability and ready it again, they will lose 3 again because it's each time they do it. So keep that in mind with like Blurple and Monstro interactions with your Tiana. The next best, Emerald Ruby. I really wanted to put this up in tier 1, but I want them to prove it. This is a deck that I could see going up to tier 1, but for now I'm going to leave them in the next best category. I think they're a lock as a tier 2 deck, possibly moving up to tier 1, but I want to see it before I go and jump the gun a little bit too much on that. Steel Song, Ruby Steel Song. I think this is, again, going to be a very, very strong tier 2 deck. If aggro is very popular, I could see this deck even making a stronger push, so we'll see how it goes. I think that Ruby Steel Song, though, is going to be a very strong deck. We have Sapphire Steel. Sapphire Steel Control, I think, again, very good deck. I think format, depending which way it goes, aggressive or control, the more aggressive the format is, the better this deck is. The more control it is, it's still a good deck, but I think it's a little weaker than some of the other control decks. Ruby Amethyst, I want to see what they do. Red Blue, I want to see what they do. I don't want to put either of these decks down to Rogue because I think their toolbox is just too generic and good, but I think that they took some hits, and I can't leave them in tier 1 contenders until they prove that they still belong there. These Tramp aggressive decks, Amber Emerald, I think, again, they got some tools. It's more, they didn't really change. I feel like they kind of stayed where they were, and other decks either got better, and I feel like there's the improvement. I didn't like how much improvement they got, and they lost Rapunzel, so that is a big hit there still, that consistency. And then Blue Steel Aggro. I think Blue Steel Aggro is still a very good deck, and I'm going to be pretty confident putting it towards the back end of tier 2. Some rogue decks maybe you want to try out. Everyone else is playing aggro, so why not try Amber Amethyst, the original hyper aggro deck? I still think it's pretty good, guys. Although I don't know if any of the new cards work their way into this deck. I've been testing a list, and I'll bring that to you guys. I know a few of my local guys are high on this deck. Hero Shift. No Morph, that's okay. You still got plenty of other options. Hero's actually a pretty crazy card, but I want to see it do something a little bit first, so I'm going to leave it down here in Rogue. Mushu. Eventually, Mushu's going to be higher. I swear, I want this deck to do so good. I just, once again, I don't think it's in the right place. We got a couple new nice tools, but overall, I don't know that it moves up. We got Lilo, though, and we got the Queen Rush and the Draw Queen both reprinted. So it got some nice tools. I'm not going to lie. Mushu might move into tier 2, especially if it's aggressive and you're putting that board state, your opponent's questing, you're challenging them. It might move up. Losing the Maui, though, hurt a lot. Emerald Steel damage, whatever you want to call that deck, putting damage, Tinkerbells, the Prince Philip, your Robin Hood, that style deck. I've played against it a few times. I've seen quite a few people talk about it. I haven't struggled to go against it, but I do want to mention it as a rogue deck that maybe you want to try out. Green Steel Pirates. This deck I like more. I think it's my favorite Green Steel deck of the format. I think that it actually has some card draw. It actually has some removal. It actually has an aggressive push. It has a mid to late game too. I'm putting it in Rogue because I don't think many people are going to play it, but this is a deck that has that potential to really move up the list. And then Amber Ruby Raceway. It's a deck that kind of came on hot towards the end of set championships. I'm going to leave it down in the Rogue though, and this is 19. I was going to do 20, and I realized the deck I don't have on here. I mentioned it as one of the big winners. Phil, I guess your deck's flying under the radar. Amber Emerald, Under the Sea. I'm going to put it in the next best category. Pretend that little circle's up there. Under the Sea, next best category. Amber Emerald, book it. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. That's my take on everything Fabled right now. Like I said, I got plenty more deck lists coming at you guys, template builds, just like we've been doing all week, and that big deck building video to kind of go over tips, tricks, stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give away, like, share, subscribe, comment down below.